head over to gethhm.com/toolbox to get all the free resources to help you get more.
So without further ado, let's get to it. What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for watching, listening, or tuning in from wherever you are. And today, you do not want to miss it. Our guest is Mr. Josh Carey. He is the co-founder of Podmax, which we are going to get into what that is, host of the Hidden Entrepreneur Show and On Air Brands Live, business coach, podcast host of over 200 episodes, speaker, digital media, and creative consultant. And my favorite thing, Josh Carey is all about helping entrepreneurs who are ready, willing, and able to say F that noise. Josh, I can't wait to get into more. What's going on, my friend?
It's all going on, Corey. Thanks so much, Ron. It's great to be here with both of you. Very excited.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited to just have this conversation. We met you not too long ago, and we got involved with Podmax, which was phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
Before we get too far into it, why don't you take a minute to kind of introduce yourself and let people know who you are?
Who I are. Like you said, Josh Carey is the name, but that's not even important, is it? Today, I'm known as the Hidden Entrepreneur. And really, that's because I spent 40 years hiding. I showed up in every situation, hiding my true talent, my skill, my ability, everything that I was capable of doing, remained hidden. Why? Because I was desperate to seek the approval of others. Where have we heard this before, right? And I really didn't want to rock the boat because I had such a fear and a concern that if I dare show up with something really cool, maybe even impressive and brilliant, who knows, something that was in my wheelhouse that was kind of like, hey man, good job, way to go. Never wanted that my way because I felt if I brought that out in someone, it might have the adverse effect of causing you to feel insecure about what you're capable or not of doing. And what might happen then? You might retaliate against me and come at me in some physical or emotional way. And I just didn't feel I had the strength or the ability to really support that. So I just ignored it altogether. And the real stress and anxiety came when behind closed doors, I knew darn well what I was capable of doing. I was just scared out of my mind to do so. So that created the life of angst, misery, depression, darkness, frustration, jealousy, all those ugly negative terms.
So what led the realization that you didn't have to get the approval, that you were better than that, and really move forward to show the way to others?
Well, it really comes down to today. I'm the proud father of two adoring children. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, who early on in their young lives, I realized something. I said, I see what's happening here. I'm the child in this circle, and I'm the one throwing the tantrum. I need a timeout. I got work to do. I got to take some time. And I said, guys, you just keep doing your thing. You're not the problem. Responsibility is all here instead of the opposite. And I said, it's time. I'm not going to continue down this path because projecting 20 years down the road, I'm now an empty nester in my rocking chair. And where was this going to lead? If my kids grew up seeing a father that way, seeking approval, angry, depressed, you know where that goes. So projecting that, I wasn't going to be able to make a change in that predicament. But here and now, I'm like, there's still time. I could do something about this, and I'm finally going to. So they became my why, and that was strong enough finally to say, I got to get my act together here. And I just took inventory of all the things I was doing, small, medium, and large habits, patterns, beliefs that weren't serving. And I just started saying, well, let me see what I can knock off here and replace one at a time. Hey, maybe I should stop doing that every single night.
Right.
Maybe there's a different way that I could approach that during lunch, or maybe my morning doesn't have to start out that way, and slowly but surely just replacing, seeing the positive result, feeling and seeing how my kids were reacting and the light at the end of the tunnel. my goodness, just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. Finally reached a tipping point, and I'm like, my goodness, I'm showing up, and I'm going to attract the people that get it and want to support it. And over, a few handful of years here, I'm sort of in a better place. Proof I'm on your show. Come on. It's a good thing.
I will tell you, I have never had more of an emotional day than Podmax the other day. Like, and the stuff you just said, like I relate to so much because, I got 3 little ones too, very similar in age. I have a 2-year-old on top of that, but the other 2 exact same ages as yours.
Yeah. 2 years apart. Yeah.
Yeah. And, this journey where you're able to adjust and create things that you would not normally be able to do with the 9 to 5, which is amazing in itself. But the piece you're talking about, the hidden entrepreneur, like the first time I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Oh, wow.
I know exactly what he's talking about because I want to say reformed, but I'm not. I'm a people pleaser, right? and it's hard to stop that. Like once you get into that, it's really difficult to let go of it. And, I still struggle with those pieces of wanting to please other people that probably don't care one way or the other on the pleasing part of it. Right.
Yeah, you said it right there. We give so much weight and credence to what others are going to think. How am I going to look? What are they going to say? And that stops us in our tracks. And that colors everything we do or don't do. When, like you said, logically, we can believe, you know what, just nobody really cares. We're all absorbed in so many ways in ourselves that even if they do look up and see what you're doing and, you moron, you look silly. It just, right? I mean, it just, what does it matter? Like a blip on the grand scheme of things. I mean, I carry this thing in my pocket. I've been doing it for about a year now. It's this gold coin that I carry everywhere. It's from the Stoic lifestyle.
Okay.
It says Memento Mori on it, and it simply means remember, you will die. And that's become my wake-up call, really. Some look at that as dark and depressing and morbid, perhaps. It's the complete opposite. It's energizing. It's uplifting. It puts everything into perspective that if not now, when? Come on. What is the difference? You have to just figure out what you want and go for it. Nobody gives a crap what you're doing. It's your life to lead and to do what you want. I'm writing a book with the title, The Art of Looking Foolish. And this is the whole theme, the whole foundation of it is that how do you get yourself out there in a way where you just don't care because nobody else cares? You have to find the meaning in what you're doing for yourself and accept that no matter what you do, relevant or not, you're going to look foolish to others, and it should not bother you in the least. In fact, the more foolish that you can look, where people say, wow, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind for trying that, doing that, attempting that? Look at history, right? I think I'm on the right show here, Hindsight Hacking. Everything in retrospect, they say this leader, this entrepreneur, this winner, this person who succeeded, they're a little nuts, right? They have this crazy gene that they just try things, and that's the path to succeeding.
So true. I mean, I think we want to be careful.
I know. I'm trying to take notes here. It's like, hold on.
All right. So you were in the dark place. You realized that you had to change some habits, some patterns, some beliefs, and Ron can tell you, like I started in 2019, this 5 minutes, like I woke up and did 5 minutes of exercise.
Perfect.
And it was like December of 2019. Well, at first it started as push-ups and then it transitioned to 5 minutes of exercise. And now as we're into 2021, it's an hour that includes 15 minutes of meditation that I've added, right? Like it's all these things, but it was all the habit stacking.
That's it.
It was just 5 minutes here and then another 5 minutes. as you moved to the last few years into showing up for your family, what's like that one habit that it really was the tipping point for you, or that one belief that changed, that really like got you through to realize, oh, you're on the right path and you're showing up for for your family?
Yeah. So when I chose to and eventually became the hidden entrepreneur, it started because first, I spent 15 years as an actor filmmaker in that role. Now, it's not too difficult in hindsight to see why did he ever go into that field, right? All I wanted were those applause and accolades. If enough people or the right people applaud me and tell me that I'm doing well, maybe that'll heal everything that I'm feeling. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It never came close. In fact, the curtain would come down, the camera would shut off, I'd go home alone in that dark, lonely apartment and be back to square one, sometimes even more depressed. So after that, my next chunk of time, I ran my own digital marketing agency for 10 years, and I was every bit attracting who I was, right? So my clientele became the same sort of reflection of who I was, right? Depressed, angry, miserable, antagonistic, jealous, confused, all of that. And I'm wondering, why isn't anybody responding to this product? Should I lower it? It's already like $6. Do I have to lower the price? Like, why isn't, like, nothing made sense, right? So then I finally got that realization with my children, and I said, okay, I got to figure this out once and for all. And I said, okay, this is just like any other toxic relationship. I have to leave. I don't know what's next, but this can't remain. So I ripped the Band-Aid off and gave myself a few months' time to just say, all right, let me figure out what's next. Let me move forward and get things in order. And the Hidden Entrepreneur brand and podcast came to me, and I set out on that path. Through that time, I thought, well, if I'm making a commitment here to no longer hide and play small. I mean, I gave myself that wonderful excuse. Well, I'm going to label myself as the hidden entrepreneur, which means I can't hide now, right? That would be contradictory. So I had that to my advantage. And I said, but what if I start doing this out of the gate, and all these people that I fear are going to retaliate because they see me doing what I think might be good things? How do I sort of protect against that? And I said, well, I could probably find a mentor in my corner, just somebody that I value and values and respects me for who I am and maybe for what I could become. And I found somebody in my circle that I was like, perfect. He's going to become my mentor. I hired him. We worked together. He helped me build what the brand and the podcast became. But that allowed me out of the gate to say, all I need is one person in my corner that if something happens in retaliation, I could just make a phone call and I could sort of get myself out of that. But now tangibly, what I started doing and strategically was I sort of bookended my day. First, I found myself in a Facebook group of like-minded people of where I wanted to go. A mix of spirituality and best practices for living a great day and how to show up as best as you can. And I bookended my day. I revamped the way I went to bed and revamped my mornings, which included, to now specifically answer your question, Corey, I started doing, like you said, I started meditation. I've heard meditation my whole life. But like those things where you're not ready until you're ready, I was never ready until I was. And I was like, I should probably try this. Then it was life-changing. So meditation became and still is a staple in my day. And also getting up early, really embracing my mornings and making a solid morning routine. It's no secret. You read about the greats. What's one thing they all have in common? Oh, they all get up early. Okay, there might be something there. There is something there. For me, it works. So I continue to do it. I get up the same time every morning and really do as much as I can in that quiet time, including exercise, including eating right, including more meditation and visualization and affirmations. And that sort of a thing. So those are the tangibles that I do.
Oh my gosh. So much to unpack there. So much. So one, I want to talk about this because I think it's important. Something you didn't jump from one thing to another.
Mm-hmm.
You gave yourself, I just wrote down the word detox, a detox moment, right? Because you were in a toxic relationship and you detoxed so you can put the right energy out there to get it back. So when Corey and I started our agency, we were very deliberate on we only want people. We will only work with people if they have a larger mission or impact that they want to create, period. And we've turned away multiple people that wanted us to do work for them, but they were in it for the money. And at the end of the day, like everyone wants to make money. Like what then?
Right. We get it. Yeah.
And we selfishly say we are going to, claim some of those impacts as part of our impact because we helped you impact, right? So that's the whole vision. And as I'm looking at all of our clients, every single one of them has this amazing vision to impact people. And so I think it's beautiful that you mentioned that. The other piece that I want to touch on is the mentoring. Like, I don't think people think about the importance of this and or the voices. Corey and I called it the voices we were listening to. We had a lot of competing voices, right? And because in this world that everybody has a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And I shared for the first time today, there literally was a person that told Corey and I, it's not going to be what you guys want. If you guys both are trying to do the same thing, you should just pick one to be the face person.
Oh boy.
And we're like, that doesn't seem right. Like that doesn't fit what we're trying to do, but we appreciate you. Okay. And we understand why you say that because there's one of you. So we had to find the right voice of the people that there's two of you, and those two of you people, they've drove the path. We're just going to follow the path, right? And guess what? It worked out just fine. So how did you go about finding your mentor? Because I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, or they don't know where to look for people to help them.
I think I think the thing that pops into my mind is the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And there's really a trap in this, because how many times, to use the relationship analogy, how many times do we find ourselves in the same relationship after the other? And after each one, we vow never to find ourselves in that kind of relationship again. So it's again, logically you can understand, but I think in execution, it's probably a little more difficult. You have to find yourself in the space first. As Jim Rohn says, you have to become the person that is capable of attracting the kind of success you desire, right? He says you don't achieve success, you attract success. And I've really taken that concept to heart all throughout this journey over the past few years, that I have to show up first. It's not showing up emotionally distraught and playing small, hoping that someone's going to say, "Psst, kid, come over here," like a Hollywood movie, right? You got something, kid. I'm going to take you under my wing and I'm going to make you. No, that's what I always hoped. Like, please, somebody validate, somebody see what's desperately in me trying to come out. No, it's on you, sir, isn't it? And it always was and always will be. So I'm like, okay, great. I have to show up first. And now all those people that I thought would retaliate are certainly nowhere to be seen. And if they creep up, it's like, big deal. Who cares? Because now I'm surrounded by people who, when I show up in full, as I've always been capable of, and that's what I say. We are all capable of this. We all know what we are capable of doing, what we should be doing and could be doing. We're just scared out of our minds to do so. So when I started showing up slowly but surely, the right people are popping up and saying, "Hey man, I got you. I see what you're doing. Good job." Now I'm getting that, "You got something, kid." but not before, but only in a reflection when I'm showing up. So what it comes down to is you have to first step into the ring to see who's going to show up, to find the mentor. You can't find or attract the right person when you are not your best self, because all you're going to attract are the wrong people. So that's how I did it. When I finally was able to show up, I attracted the people that were like, I'm watching, I see, I like. And I was like, okay, let me feel this out. Let me see if there's an energetic match here. It seems like you like what I'm doing. You respect me. I'm sort of starting to respect myself. So I could appreciate and acknowledge that there's some truth to this. So why don't we work together? Why don't we get on a call and see what's what? And then it just worked out.
So good. And I love that part of, if you are not ready to basically appreciate yourself and respect yourself, you may be looking, but you're looking and the wrong people are coming to you, right? Like if that, that's so true. So true. So I want to shift gears just a smidge, because I want to spend a lot more time talking about Podmax and everything.
Is that about this much? A smidge? Not this much, but a smidge. You want to move, right?
Smidge. I want to talk about Podmax like that much.
There's not very many things that Corey and I will talk about in length for multiple days that is outside of our business. Wow. And Podmax was one of those pieces.
Yes. I mean, we left Podmax and we went and did a full episode on it.
I watched. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. But before we get to that, I wanted one little thing.
Sure.
Hindsight's 2020. Everybody knows, hey, if you had that full ability to know hindsight, we could have avoided some pitfalls. We could have achieved things faster. Or other people say, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through all that. So where do you lie in that train of thought? If you could actually go back in time, give yourself a little advice, what kind of advice would you give?
Well, as you were asking, I did, in fact, that was coming through my head. I'm like, is that a cop-out where it's like, yeah, but I just want to appreciate all that I've gone through. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have found this, and this never would have happened. Fine, true. We could all agree on that. But looking at it legitimately, I think it's evident. I think it's about somebody really sitting me down and say, you know darn well what you're capable of doing. You must go out and do it. Why? Why freaking not? There is literally no reason not to. You're scared? What are you, a child? You're not. You're a man-child. True, because you're over 18. Get over it. Watch what's going to happen. You say you want everything, and I want this, and I want that. Yeah, just like a little child says, I want, gimme. If you really do, there's one way to get it, and you know how that is.
Dang, so good. So, I mean, literally, I was so looking forward to this interview, and now I get to talk about podcast or Podmax. I am so excited. So
cool.
For the listeners who missed our show or have been living under a rock, what is Podmax?
Podmax is, at its core, it's an all-day event where virtually now, where entrepreneurs and founders have the chance to record as a guest on multiple top shows relevant to their industry, all recorded in one day. And in between those sessions, they experience a master class full of training and education, plenty of great networking built right into the day, and a keynote discussion with a known name. And we help through the process. As part of our pre-event training, we help the attendees identify, practice, and communicate their message. So when the big day comes, they are showing up with confidence and skillfully executing that message so they can impact the world.
Yes. And so for someone like Ron and I, it was luckily the Luis and Fonzie, the Biz Bros, said, hey, Corey, Ron, you guys should come to do this Podmax thing. And we're like, all right, what is it?
What is
I don't know. Or they didn't say, I don't know, but we didn't really get much after that. And then we just, filled it out and showed up. And I even told Ron, I'm like, hey, block off the 25th of January because we're going to Podmax. He's like, all right, what is it?
Yeah, not sure. Right.
Show up. And then what I did know is I expected to interview a few people. Right. Like I expected to get that. And all three people that we ended up with, and one wasn't even on our schedule, were incredible guests.
Yeah, Rocky. Yeah, I remember that.
And Rocky and so like we've already aired Rocky's episode. We already aired Aaron Halper's episode. We have Mark Stinson coming up. But all three were great. And so the level of people that were there was like second to none. Like every single person, the relationships that have already started from then has been incredible. But then the training you guys added was somebody like David Meltzer. Like, hey, how did you get him to come and give what he gave? Like it was incredible. Like everything about it was incredible. The level of people that were there as hosts and guests, as well as your keynote, like just walk us through a little bit of that.
Well, thank you, by the way, for acknowledging all of that. So we've been doing these events for over a year. They started at the end of 2019 as an in-person event. We have a studio in Trenton, New Jersey, and we used to sell a couple dozen tickets for the all-day in-person event. And people would fly in because they looked at it like a conference or a workshop or a mastermind. And we did kind of the same thing. We had, several podcast studios set up around the building, and you as a guest would rotate every hour into a new studio and record with a new guest. We had a keynote speaker. We catered it for lunch. So it was sort of that like conference, workshop, mastermind feel with, as we know, Podmax today. Then, of course, 2020 happened, and we're like, March came, and we're like, what in the world are we going to do? Because we actually had our 2020 calendar filled with live events. So we were like, say what now? Where are we going here? We took pen to paper and thought about it, and we said, could this work virtually? And we said, there's only one way to find out. Let's try it. So in May of 2020, we put our first virtual on the calendar. We didn't know what to expect, but we sort of honed this 8-hour, really hourly filled agenda, made it as solid as we can. Me and Eric emceed it like we do and facilitated the whole thing. And it was just a great success for everybody. We loved it. The attendees and the hosts loved it. And we were like, wow, what did we just accomplish here? This is good that it works virtually. We should probably go down this path. So every 4 to 6 weeks, we put a new one on the calendar. And we just started bringing really the theme of everything that we've been talking about here, we applied to the event. So short answer, to answer what you're asking, on a big, broad level, me and Eric continue to show up and attract the right people as we're like marching down the street and we're like, who likes this? Who likes this song? Anybody like this? And the people who do, just like life, the people who do will raise their hand and say, I want to get in on this. And that's what we've been doing. And we've just been sort of playing big and taking big risks and trying big things and talking to the right people. And just, I think everything with the event is perfectly timed for now, and with what podcasts are representing and with virtual events and what Eric and I can sort of bring to the table, put our own vibe on it, just because we happen to come to podcasts separately. We met in the middle and we're like, oh, let's do this thing called Podmax. And I think just that everything seems to be working and attracting the right people because we're showing up in support of everybody else, which is the theme. If we're doing it, we're like, hey, who wants to be their best and play their best? Because this is probably a cool, fun, productive, and professional space to do it.
Absolutely. And I don't believe in coincidences. I truly feel that things happen because that is what you're supposed to be doing at that particular time. So, perfect example.
Yeah.
The first guest that we had, we weren't supposed to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a funny story, actually.
This is a crazy story.
I love it. Right.
Okay. So was it Saturday you started reading this book called Profits First?
Yep. It was Saturday before Podmax.
I get a text on Sunday. Oh, we got to change this. We got to do this. We got to do this. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, man? And we have our Monday meeting where we talk about our business.
Yeah.
And he introduces this profit first mentality. And I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Think about it. Podmax happens. Our guest couldn't make it. Yeah. So Rocky gets in, and what does he do? He is a coach for Profits First. Now,
literally,
we did not ever say that out loud to anybody, so you wouldn't have known that. He wouldn't have known that.
Yeah,
right?
My wife and Ron knew that. That was it.
I've never seen Corey get so geeked up, like ever. I've known Corey for like 6 years, ever, for anything like he did when this guy said that. I was just like, what is happening? Like
in real time. You discovered this in real time.
Real time.
Wow.
No idea.
Yeah.
So then also fast forward a little bit, David Messler, right? I expected something else from him. And why is we've done graphic work for a summit he was on that was around real estate. So I assumed he was in real estate.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Which he's not.
No.
Right. So I went into that keynote thinking I was going to learn something else.
Wow.
And what he delivered, like, oh my gosh. Oh my, like, it was so flipping powerful. The whole, I went and I was telling my wife about the coat that his dad sent him.
Oh, the coat story, right?
Right. And I was just like, this is the craziest thing that is happening. And that's why it was so emotional for us, right? Because there was two crazy coincidence stuff that was happening that there was, I could have checked out and not listened, but you know what? It was being present. It was being involved. It was being surrounded with the right people in the right time. And it is a phenomenal thing that you guys put together. And I know there's people listening because I don't know, it's a podcast. Where can people get involved in Podmax?
So the website is the location, podmax.co. And we're always looking for incredible show hosts like you guys were to come in, and you come in for the day and you participate in, yes, you get to be there for the keynote and the master class and the networking, which are other show hosts, other high-level entrepreneurs who are just in the same mental, spiritual, emotional business boat as you. So we're always looking for great show hosts to record. You'll also record as you'll get matched with 3 of those high-level attendees. We'll match you, and the week prior you'll get to see who you're matched with, so you can research, and they'll do the same for you. But then we're also looking for high-level entrepreneurs and founders who understand that, wow, not only do I want to get on 3 shows, all recorded in one day, mind you, which is cool in and of itself, but you're going to get around this network of these high vibe people who have the same growth mindset, who have the same mentality as you do, who want to impact the world like you do, and you'll rub shoulders with these high-level keynotes. We started taking pride in, okay, we sort of have to up the game in who we're getting. That same event, we also had Claude Silver, who's the chief heart officer, yes, that's a thing, of VaynerMedia. So she's Gary Vee's right hand when it comes to overseeing the 1,000 employees across Vayner and making sure that they're heart-centered and that they're perfectly aligned with what they want to do. So she came in, and so yeah, if you like that, the website is where you go. And you, complete disclaimer, like you two gentlemen, you might not really get an impression of what the experience is, but even if it remotely speaks to you and you're like, well, I guess I could take a chance on this, you're not going to be disappointed.
No.
Not at least. So, I mean, Ron and I will probably be at every single upcoming Podmax until you say you're not allowed anymore.
Yeah, until you say, yeah, you know what? You can't go.
Well, we haven't said it to anybody, and a lot of our show hosts feel the same way and keep coming back. So you guys are invited till the end of time. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. So February 26th is the next one. So everybody, they need to get in to the website, podmax.co, register for February 26th. And, obviously they've got to be high level podcast hosts, high level entrepreneurs with a good message, a good impact, because like-minded people will be in the room ready to help and impact the world. And honestly, the relationships that we have already built from beyond there is incredible. Like, I know we're going to be on Rocky's show at some point.
That's the thing.
Aaron is already like talking about people to get on our show. I mean, and those are just two of the many relationships that have already started. Like you're here. Obviously, Eric's going to be on our show soon to talk about some of the same things, just coming at it from his side of the street. And so incredible, Josh. And so
thank you.
Last piece of advice, last question I've got for you today. What is the one thing you want to tell any entrepreneur or podcast host or somebody that's trying to take their game to the next level? What's that piece of advice that you've got for them?
Like I've experienced my whole entire life, which was the root of all the frustration and the angst, is that it was that disconnect of showing up small, but knowing full well what I'm capable of. And that's the bottom line. We all have the incredible, limitless capability, at least so much more than we're giving, right? So if there's a limit on it, see how close you can get to that limit, because we can make excuses all day, and so many people do. But I've made that choice to no longer play small, no longer make excuses, take full responsibility for everything and anything that comes into my vision and field of awareness here. And life is a lot better that way. So if you feel like that there's a little something more, be truthful with yourself and admit quietly that this is what I've been doing. And yes, there is so much more, and I am scared out of my mind, but I'm going to find one person in my corner after I start showing up, because you want to start showing up in the way that you attract the right people. And then slowly but surely it just builds on itself, and jump in. The water's great.
So true. There's so much truth to exactly what you said. And I know there's people out there that are nervous or scared, and that's okay. That is
my
okay.
God.
You know,
Yeah, it's very okay.
But we're going to end the show in a little bit and put you back in the green room. We'll do a couple takeaways, then we'll bring you back after the show ends and we'll talk for a little bit. But for the people listening, and I'm sure they're like, hey, I totally want to get in this guy's world because he's speaking my language. Where can they go?
My website is joshcarey.com. And that's the fork in the road. You can hear my podcast. You can watch my videos. You can learn more about me. You can say hello. You can click through to your favorite social platform. We'll stalk each other there. And it's joshcarey.com.
Perfect. All right, Josh, thanks so much. joshcarey.com and podmax.co. Everybody go check them out. Wealth of knowledge, wealth of heart, and so incredible. Really appreciate you being here today, Josh.
Likewise, guys. Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Woo! All right. I'm so pumped for Podmax right now, Ron.
I know.
We have to wait like 28 more days. So that's too long, Josh. Too long. All right. Couple takeaways. I assume you have one or two. Let us have it.
I don't even know where to start. Like, seriously.
I got some covered for you.
No, I'm going to I think I'm going to probably take one of yours, but it'll be good. So I'm going to talk to somebody that's listening right now that needs to hear this. Okay. 1, stop worrying about what other people think. Stop it. Your whole life will change because most of those people that you're worried about what they think don't care. They don't care. And then the people that do care, ironically, you don't worry about what they think. So like people need to flip the switch on that. The other piece is replace a bad habit with a good habit and then stack upon it. Right. And you're a perfect example. You've talked about it. I suck at habits. I've started a little morning routine. I call it a routine because it's not a habit yet, but I'm starting the process, right? Because I understand and I've watched you do it. So I have a very clear reference of it. And there's enough people talking about habit stacking. Replace a bad habit with a good habit and continue to do it.
Yep. That's awesome. Incredible. One thing at a time, right? One foot in front of the other. And then to anybody else listening, like, what is your wake up call? Right? I mean, stop, reflect, take a moment, think. What is your wake up call? What is going to take it? What is it going to take to get you moving forward, to get you to show up, to get you to be your best? Like, come on. There are so many wonderful things in this world. Like, stop. You'll be able to figure it out. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, for tuning in, wherever you're tuning in. And, we can't wait for the next episode coming at you soon. And if you're not watching live in our group, why not? Come on. Facebook.com/groups/now22. We'll see you over there.
Yeah, guys, thanks for being the best part of the Hindsight Hackers community.